y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shamika and this is Check the Rhymes. I am super excited that you're here. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all, we are talking about Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. Y'all, I cannot wait to see Kanan's backstory, how he became as grimy as he is in Power. Y'all, I can't wait. Anyway, it kicks off on July 18th on Starz, so make sure you check it out then. But for now, we're going to hop into this press conference and see what we can find out. Stay tuned. So, Omar, like Nikki was saying, you are a legend as far as in my house as well. You're a 90s staple, really is what it is. So how does it feel to kind of be going back to those roots since this is set in the early 90s?
It was fun. It was fun for many different reasons. I mean, we film in New York, but it's a very different New York from the one that I grew up in. So there's that part for me, selfishly. We're on set and I'm like, do you realize what projects we're filming in? And everyone's walking around like, no, this is just another set. I'm like, no, it's not. But also it was fun creatively because Detective Howard, who I play, he's not from that era. He's from like a couple generations before. So it was interesting to sort of look at the 90s through the lens of an older dude. And that was a fun challenge. But it's fun. It's a great time, for me, personally, and just, it was a great time for us culturally. And I think you get to see a lot of that in the show in terms of how the younger kids sort of congregated around each other and sort of supported each other, or, some of them had some fights and stuff like that. It's normal kid stuff. But going back to, Patina said something earlier about family, and it's just like, really, that was the feeling of that era. It was about unity in the village. It takes a village.
I had one question prepared, but then you said that you listened to a lot of 90s music and watched 90s movies. And now I got to know, what were those? What were some of those?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, to get into character, it definitely started with, watching like Juice, New Jack City. That's primetime 90s New York. That's where I spent a lot of time, I guess, just feeling out the environment, seeing how they were moving and what was around, how they were talking, because that's another thing, going into a period piece, you want to make sure that you're not saying anything that's too contemporary or, any phrases, terms, anything like that. So that was where we were at with watching movies and stuff like that. Where else did we go? I had like a whole playlist of like Naughty by Nature, Apache, Busta Rhymes was in there. And these are all just like songs I was listening to. Who else? 3 Times Dope, Jungle Brothers. Who else did I say? Did I say Tribe Called Quest? Yeah, something like that. But these are all songs. You gonna need that playlist? I got you.
I'm gonna need that.
Say less. But this is just stuff I was listening to help me really feel out that time frame and really understand what was happening, because not only was this a time, a lot of the raps back then were what was happening, and it was current at the time, and it gives you an even further visual of what was really good around the hood and stuff like that. So those were a lot of the I guess the little tips and tricks I did to really get into character, to really channel the 90s, if you will, for that part of it.
We know social media can be brutal, and like Michael Rainey Jr., he probably experienced a lot of that with both Power and Power Book 2. So has he given you any advice? Because Kanan isn't exactly like one of everybody's favorite, because he's Kanan. Right. So has he given you any advice for how to handle it?
Has he given any like actual like verbal advice about that? No, but I have noticed, to just not give a fuck. And that's honestly, that's kind of how I've moved throughout life in its entirety. But, I guess stepping onto a new scale and, in such a way as he's done, it turns into an entirely different thing, in a way. And honestly, it just speaks, going back to how hated he was for a little while. that just speaks to me to his ability as a performer, as an actor. When you have, you know, the world so convinced that this is the way you move, that they hate you. I think that's a great job right there. You know what I mean? So, you know, and on one hand, you can look at that and be excited about it, or, you know, tuck your tail and run. But we here, and everybody has their own opinions, and that is what it is. You know, we can agree to disagree and leave it at that. You know what I mean? Like that's all it is.
Thank you so much. That was such a Kanan/50 answer. What aspect of your character do you relate to most?
For me, I like the wardrobe. I can appreciate clothes, and I think Marvin does a really good job getting dressed every day. And shout out to Frank. You know, he definitely, that's his look. But I'm just saying, on the character side of things, Marvin keeps himself pretty well together.
I'm curious as to Malcolm, how do you detox though from like diving deep into your character, and then, you know, once the cameras are off, like how do you go back to being who you are?
It's difficult because TV takes such a long time, and especially our show. We ended up, I was in the twilight of my 20s when we started. I'm now 31, going on 32. So it's like, we've been doing this for a long time, an extended amount of time. And so the process starts with, I think, getting reacclimated. Number one, we not, you know, come on, it's not war. I done been in the streets. Like, this is cool. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, having a strong self-identity in the first place, having a strong foundation in the first place, having a strong support family unit, friend unit, who gonna remind you who you are. You can't come to my friends and be like, yeah, man, it's cool. And we'll be like, nigga, you not Lulu, shut up, nigga. You know? So it's very good to have people reminding you, these totems that remind you who you are. Those are the ways that I find myself back to who I am, even forcibly sometimes. You know.
Thank you. So I had chatted with Courtney Kemp probably 2018 for Entertainment Tonight. And at that time, she talked about how before Power originally aired, that she had some pushback on the direction of Ghost's character. So I wondered if you experienced anything about the direction of Kanan's character with this, with Power Book 3.
Well, the good news is Courtney was so successful that it doesn't matter. You know, it's like the show's been so successful, we can kind of do whatever we want. You know, I mean, and that really is kind of the answer. Like, success kind of affords you this creative latitude that you never get beforehand. And I'm the beneficiary of that. I didn't create Power, but I am absolutely the beneficiary of the success that Courtney and 50 have had with it. And so what's been real gratifying is that, you know, the network, the studio have really let me and us do what we want to do because they see that it's worked. So I haven't had any real pushback on anything. I mean, I think everything that you're going to see is pretty much as intended. But yeah, I mean, I remember, you know, I was in the writers' room season 1 of Power, and we had those conversations, and you know, that's par for the course for a first season show like Power, where, you know, no one knows if it's going to be successful or not. You know, success answers a lot of questions.
Thank you.